Okay, so first thing I'm going to point out, I am no longer three-dimensional. I've become a two-dimensional being. I've purchased a camera and I'm still fiddling with it, so I am now going to be two-dimensional until I can get the camera sorted out. But speaking of twos and threes, we're going to actually be talking about the number 3. 3 is quite an odd number and is quite popular when it comes to comics, games, and general media, but not in its usual form. It's not like you'll be running through your Minecraft world and just run into a big number 3. Threes can also show up as 3 people in a group, 3 trials that someone may pass through, or simply 3 doors to walk through. Whilst these can be a group of 5 people, or 10 trials, or maybe just 2 doors, it's much more common to just see 3 people all the time. We'll start with some instances that most are aware of. That's the big 3 of DC and Marvel. Well, more specifically the MCU, but nonetheless. I'm going to ask you to name some heroes from the Justice League off the top of your head. Comment who you named in the comment section below, and I almost guarantee you probably jumped right to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. You may ring off a few others like The Flash or Green Lantern, or if you just came back from the new Superman movie, then Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl too. But nonetheless, you probably started with Bats, Supes, and Wundy? Does she have a nickname? Same goes for the MCU. You think the Avengers and you'll probably think of the big 3 who stood up against Thanos. Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. It even happens in My Hero Academia with Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki. But why do they make teams of these 3 main characters like all the time in every form of media? Well, we can look at memorability. Remembering one character is really easy, and I would say the team max is probably 5. You can look at Scrappy-Doo as proof for that. Who's Scrappy-Doo? Exactly. No one remembers Scrappy-Doo. 6 is just too many people. So 3 is like a good midpoint for everyone. It's enough characters to make the story diverse, but also not too many to make it confusing as to what's going on. But obviously, it's not just limited to hero groups. The rule of 3 is also heavily applied in games, be it from a simple farming game to a Souls-like game. It's used for boss battles, maybe being 3 stages to it, or it takes 3 hits on its weak spot to beat it, or it'll show up in puzzles, the player having to collect 3 items to open a door, or solve 3 riddles to get over a bridge. It's also seen in online play, but that's more for the fact that 3 matches just make sense in the way of competitiveness. I don't know. It just makes sense that there's 3 rounds. You can also look at Pokemon's 3 main types too: fire, water, and grass. 3 different starters with 3 different elements. The reason for this in games though is just due to it being so ingrained in gaming culture, as well as it being ingrained into general literary culture. You can make a puzzle take 1 or 2 steps, but 3 is almost always the sweet spot, and anything beyond that will test the player's patience. TV series and movies technically have 2 forms of the rule of 3, one being the one that we're actually talking about, the narrative rule of 3, and then there's the visual rule of 3, which is like 9 blocks equaled out on a screen for positioning of like landscapes and characters. But I'm not an actual film photographer or anything like that. I mean, I'm two-dimensional at the moment. I think my photography skills have become negligible. I'm just going to cut that out. So instead we'll be talking about the narrative rule of 3 in film and TV. To start off, almost all movies, not including ones that are intentionally like 3 parts long, built off of a 3-part structure. The beginning, where the story begins, obviously. The middle, where all the juicy drama happens, usually with all the climaxes of the story. And the ending, which, ends the movie. These are usually given the name of acts. There could also be the 3 characters that become the main core group. The Star Wars original trilogy had Luke, Leia, and Han Solo. Original Pokemon had Ash, Brock, and Misty. And one of my favorite realistic superhero films, 2012's Chronicle, had a group of 3 teenagers at the start of it. Of course, that group doesn't stay as 3, but it starts off as 3 nonetheless. Oh, and No Way Home has 3 Spider-Men too. 3 is the magic number. But why is it the magic number? Who decided that 3 would be the number for fictional scenarios in writing? Well, we can go back to who actually talked about the 3 acts of story writing. Aristotle. In what is one of the earliest documents of Greek literacy, Aristotle's Poetics. From there you could find the use of 3 act structures in most stories afterwards. And thanks to Vladimir Prop's morphology of the folk tale, we know that a lot of old Russian folklore and fairy tales had implemented the use of 3s in them. You had to guess Rumpelstiltskin's name in 3 tries. In The Silent Princess, a prince breaks a woman's pitcher 3 times and is cursed, and he must get a princess to speak 3 times. It even has origins in religion to an extent, with the 3 wise men who go to the gift of the baby Jesus with the 3 gifts. There may be other religious examples too, but I'm not too well versed in religion, so I'll leave that to the other guy who wears Hawaiian shirts and does vlog style videos. Point being is that we can look all the way back to the ancient Greeks in 335 BC for the core roots of the rule of 3, but that's the earliest surviving document of it. For all we know, the rule of three started all the way back when humans painted on walls. Now, of course, I'm not a historian buff either, so take it all with a grain of salt. But to get to our third act, the rule of three has made a very obvious dent in writing and general media. Be it something as simple as a fan fiction on Wattpad to a multi-million-dollar superhero franchise to a classic like the Skylanders games. The rule of three is a classic all the way from Greek history to now, and will be around for many years to come, like a third Avatar movie. It's so ingrained into writing, gaming, and just general film culture that, you know, it's weird to not see the rule of three implemented into some form of common modern media. Another rule of three is how many parts my trope videos usually get, because who makes a 4-part series and ends it at that? I feel like I've made a pretty small script for this one too, so hopefully it doesn't end up like another 6-minute video, but I'm looking at my recording time now, and I feel like it's probably going to end up that way, so I did want to make more long-form videos, but this one's probably going to be a bit shorter as I, again, had bought a new camera, and I wasn't expecting it to be this much of a pain to set up. But hopefully we should be going back to our regular upload schedule and quality that we had before the last 3 videos. And now that I've gotten a new camera, hopefully in the next few videos it won't be two-dimensional, unless you guys start to like the two-dimensional version of me, then I guess he's gonna stick around, I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to subscribe, and while you're down there, you may as well like the video too, as it helps push it into the algorithm for others to see. And once again, not sponsored. Thank you to all my members, Tina Buttercup, Crystal Kensbit, Jasmine Wilson, Wilburfly, and Nugsy1. I'll see you all next week.